Hey guys, welcome to the channel if you're new, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Special thanks to all of my patrons. My name's Neil and it's time for the next episode of Arcane. I won't pretend that this isn't a love fest of mine, guys. I am in love with this series. I hope that there are future seasons. It's one of the most visually beautiful things I've seen on television in a long time. The animation is beyond what I thought animation was capable of, and the storytelling is just as good. I'm really excited for this next episode. We're jumping into the third and final act of season 1, and one of the things I'm really enjoying on this second watching is everything that's extra. Like there are parts of this world, there are characters that serve the story at hand, and then there are so many other things in the background, things that are hinted at, things that are just barely established, that hint at how much bigger this world is, how many more stories there are to tell. It's just all these subtle teases about what might be next. Not just in the next episode, but in season 2, season 3, in this world. And I guess that's one of the real advantages of making shows about established video games. Because in a large way, a lot of these worlds have already been built. Maybe the lore hasn't been fleshed out to the same degree in something like League of Legends as it is here on screen, but a lot of games have a ton of lore to build off of, and there's such rich environments that expanding the lore is I can imagine it's a really fun exercise. I'm really hoping that more games take their cue from League of Legends and Arcane, because there's so many other properties that I would love to see done either as animated series or as live action. For instance, you may have noticed that I'm a fan of Fallout. I've got a few Fallout souvenirs on the shelves behind me. And I know that there's been talk of a Fallout series for about 1.5 years now, and I think they're finally going into production. Obviously, COVID threw a spanner in the works and slowed down the rollout of that, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up too high yet. But the idea that there is a Fallout series coming excites the heck out of me, and I can only imagine when League of Legends fans found out that there was an Arcane series coming, they were as equally excited. There's these huge fan bases out there that are just ripe to follow onto any new content. Yeah, I'm excited to see what sort of happens in this new and evolving genre. Anyway, guys, let's jump into episode 7. This one's called The Boy Savior. Oh yeah, this is the completely different intro. All about the firelights.
It's all about the get back. It's hard to give back while the politicians kick back. They say I'm only brick rap.
I knew it was a mistake trusting you.
You've been a real picnic yourself.
When were you planning to tell me that your lunatic sister works for him?
Just as soon as you came clean about what the hell
I
you're
love
really doing
the
down
conversations just between the two POVs through the sacks on their heads.
Stop! Get your hands off of me! Leave her alone! Let me go!
Vi? Vi?
I think I was fairly confident that this was Echo at the time, the first time I watched it, but it's still an awesome reveal, even if you know it's coming.
You look good for a dead girl.
Nice.
It's me, Vi. Same person who used to take you down to the junk heap and hose you down when you got covered in grease.
That was a long time ago. People change.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Everyone, you too, Vi.
I didn't know if I could trust you.
So you just come out swinging?
Gee, I wonder who I learned that from.
Oh, you should have learned more. You still punch like a little boy.
And you still block with your face.
I miss you, little man.
Ugh. Why do hugs always get me?
Perhaps the error resides not with your calculations, but with your subjects. We have the capacity to change our nature. Jace will understand. Perhaps.
Some serious triceps pulls he's having to do there at the Talus family forge.
This and Shimmer. It's hard to believe what they're capable of.
That prejudice. Even from someone who's
Is that what
supposedly
you
really open-minded like Jace.
Try not to lose your nuts.
Enforcers are searching anyone who crosses the bridge.
Like she even wears her mechanical arm in a sling when it's injured like that.
Where are you going?
I didn't even notice that before you get all of Jinx's graffiti on his ashtray.
She'll come to you when she's ready.
I didn't lose her!
Here's about the enforcer. Who saw it?
Caitlin.
Yeah, definitely some Harley Quinn stuff here, but man, they do such a good job of visually showing her mental state. So often when she does a violent act or even mimes a violent act, it triggers a little change in the film grade. It's a really cool, almost subconscious effect.
Powder's gone, Vi. All that's left is Jinx, and she belongs to
You're
Silco.
wrong. She's still in there. I can reach her.
You can't.
That's basically the story in 2 sentences of this entire series. Is Powder still in there? Echo's almost become the new Vander in Vi's absence.
This is everyone we've lost.
Man.
The price of our freedom.
Now, bottom left on
Some
that
of the
frame,
enforcers,
it almost looks like there's a Mel. But I love like every face on that mural is distinct, and we don't know half of them, but you feel like there's a story behind every one of them. It's verge of another uprising.
Jace, what is this? There are people down there who seem hell-bent on destroying us.
I told you I knew someone.
Well, you didn't say they were from the Undercity?
What difference does that make? I'm from the Undercity.
You're right.
Yeah, all these like long-standing prejudices and biases, and even somebody who thinks that they're really open-minded and progressive like Jace automatically has these really negative views of the trenchers, which is basically a derogative too, isn't it?
Where I see it, we should cut a deal and give back the gemstone. Better to have some trade than none at all.
Jinx will deal with it.
Ha! How are you meant to bring Piltover to heal if you can't handle your own people?
Nobody has faith in Jinx. Nobody. Other than Silco. And he really does. Like, I mean, he's...
You don't recognize it.
It's almost as if he's...
Have you forgotten where
I wouldn't say blinded by love, but it's clearly become his one weakness. Faith almost always is a weakness. Because it's, by definition, irrational.
I gave you life. Purpose.
Please. Please.
Good meeting.
Just in case anyone had any doubt about who was still in charge.
I've had word from our friends overseas. This threat from the Undercity is drawing attention. This arrived for you.
Family crest. The Medardas. How rude.
Let her go. I brought her here. It's me you want.
My hero.
You're... But I thought you...
Vi tells me I can trust you.
Where have you been, Jinx?
Oh, you know. Here, there.
She and the Enforcer are back for the crystal. Not for you.
Lies, but he does lie to his daughter. He's still playing a game.
Everyone else betrays us.
Yeah, he's still got his eyes on the prize.
I need you.
He still knows how to manipulate her.
More than ever.
Oh, that device is just so visceral.
Your people hunt us. Like animals. Silco pays them to do it.
You're wrong.
Say that one more time.
Echo. She believes what she's saying, okay? She's not your enemy.
With this, someone with the right knowledge could build any hex tech device.
Echo could build something.
You'd be well within your rights to keep it. I couldn't blame you. This city needs healing. More than I ever realized. Please, let me help you.
One condition. I'm the one who gives it to them.
It's been suggested that they may have found a way to utilize the gemstone.
Well, do we know this for certain?
We can't afford to wait to find out.
We need to weaponize it.
The decision is yours.
Victor knows she's got her claws in enough that that's enough to persuade Jace.
There is always a choice.
Oh, the atmosphere is just so good. Yeah. Man's desperate. So that wasn't straight shimmer that he was given, it was a variant. And I wonder how different it is from the regular shimmer on the street. Like, would he have just raged out if he kept it in, or would it have done something else to him?
I can't leave her again.
You can't change her.
I have to try.
And look who's watching.
Cupcake.
Milo right over her shoulder like that.
Hug.
You're right.
She wouldn't do that. Not again.
She's internalized Milo in particular so much because he was always the one that sort of hated on her, called her a jinx, everything else, putting all these terrible thoughts in her head.
I have proof. Silco's behind everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, the last man you want to be telling.
Show me.
The man who's partnered with Silco. Brutal.
I told you to leave this alone.
Like, is he really about to kill Caitlyn? I love this Firelight's reveal. It's crazy. Because they've been established so well in this episode. And then we get the close-up, and they're not the same at all. Because we've seen them close up in a bunch of shots, and all of a sudden these are something different. And look at that. Jeez. And they go off like fireworks, even though they're so much more devastating. Man, kid's smart enough to wear armor. I hate that you're almost sympathetic for Marcus in that moment. Like, he's done nothing but betray the city, but his motivations are... they're rigid and they're prejudiced, but the motive underneath it is actually like a good one. It's protecting the city, but he's no idea who he needs to protect it from. That's brilliant storytelling. Whoa. They're like the two little kids from 6 years ago, and now they're showing down.
Look who it is, the boy savior.
I'm in awe of this sequence. And the music's awesome. The music in this episode, like the music for the whole series is great, but this episode in particular, between the opening credits and this track, so good. And I love that that's all in his head, and he's like, okay, new plan. And I love their ultra slow-mos in these moments before contact. We had it with Vi back in episode 3. And he can't take her out because they have such history. And it's gonna kill him. And that brilliant storytelling device of pulling away so that we don't know what happened, and we're left to guess and hypothesize. Maybe they're both dead. Maybe only one survived. Which one? Maybe they both survive. Maybe one's on the verge of death. Maybe there's a broken watch that's barely hanging on, but still has a little wind in it. Yeah, that final sequence with Echo and Jinx is so good, so smartly written, so well executed. The underlying music, even the animation style changes. We have, it's incorporating all these memories of childhood, and the animation style itself becomes less finely painted and more broad brushed, almost, I don't want to say crayon in style, but it definitely feels like it's almost drawn by a younger artist, if that makes sense. Like, everything about it just speaks of better days in the past, when they were just playing with paintball pellets. But yeah, man, heartbreaking. Like, I'm always surprised how quickly my opinions of characters change in this show, and it's all to do with the storytelling, the writing, and none of it feels disingenuous, because let's face it, we have people that we're close to in our lives, our friends, our family, and sometimes we love what they do, and sometimes we hate what they do, and sometimes we're butting heads with them, and sometimes we are simpatico and in love and all the rest of it. Our feelings about those who we're closest to they often change. That's natural. That's human nature. That's the nature of relationships. And it's the same with well-written fictional characters, I find. Some things they do, you totally agree with, and you're behind, and you're rooting for them, and other things you do, other things that they do make you go insane because you see them making a mistake, or you wish they had done it a different way. But but that almost makes them more real. And then there's characters that, they do bad thing after bad thing and you don't like them at all, and then they show you, they demonstrate a moment of compassion or intelligence or caring, and suddenly you care about them. Or vice versa, you're behind them. You get why they're doing everything that they do, and then you see them, just do something calculated and devious and terrible. Like the relationship between Silco and Jinx in particular, I find fascinating, because I think, especially, he definitely, truly thinks of her as his daughter. He genuinely cares about her. He loves her. He wants the best for her. But there's these moments of manipulation, like in this episode, where he straight out lies to her to get her in line to do the things that he needs her to do. And it's almost painful, because, like, as much as I don't like Silco's actions, I totally understand his motivations, and I'm quite sympathetic towards him, and I think he's a fascinating character. He's kind of like a Ben from Lost, a Benjamin Linus or something. You have to respect the intelligence and the calculation, and Jinx is definitely his one weakness. He acts somewhat irrationally when it comes to Jinx. He puts more faith in her than anybody else does. And maybe it's just because he sees so much of himself in her, but it also makes him a little bit blind to the potential risks. And yet then, he does consciously manipulate her. He lies to her. He says, that Vi and Caitlin were just after the Hex Tech. It was not about getting her. Like a Benjamin Linus, he knows exactly what buttons to push, how to persuade somebody, how to get them to think that it's their idea to do everything that they do to support you and your cause. Fascinating character. Really, really cool. Really well written. Yeah, I love this series. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this series too. I know that I'm a bigger fan of this than some other people out there. If you're someone else, one of those who may have liked it but doesn't think it's the best thing ever, tell me what didn't ring true for you. And we're all entitled to our own opinions. I'd love to hear things that didn't work for you, whether they were character design or story points or something else. I'd love to know. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. If you do want to support the channel, the best way to do that is by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/NeilTalks. The link's in the description below. And until next time, everybody, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.